welcome to part 2 of our Walt Disney World Brackets Challenge. So in the previous video, we put up thrill rides, dark rides, mild rides, shows, boat rides / water rides, and simulator rides, and we pitted them against each other, and we found out which ones we preferred over others. We have our whiteboards here, and we are ready to get into the semifinals, the finals, and we are ready to decide once and for all, based on our opinions, of what is the best ride at Walt Disney World Resort. We are going to start with the thrill bracket. That's going to be Big Thunder Mountain, Space Mountain, Rock and Roller Coaster, and Expedition Everest. First up, it is Big Thunder Mountain versus Space Mountain. These are the two big ones duking it out. And we will see if there's an upset with this. Okay, are we ready? 3, 2, 1. Space, and Big Thunder Mountain. No! Oh, no. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to convince you guys to change your minds on this. Otherwise, Space Mountain moves on. I think Big Thunder Mountain is a beautiful attraction. Space Mountain is absolutely classic. It is thrilling. It is in the dark. You don't really know what direction you're actually going to go, which makes it even more of an involved experience, I suppose. Big Thunder Mountain is less thrilling, I will say, but it is just gorgeous from the conception of the Imagineering behind Big Thunder Mountain. Big Thunder Mesa, which was a project that didn't end up happening, but Big Thunder Mountain was pretty close enough to it. It's incredible. It is gorgeous. The idea is just phenomenal, and I respect it so much, and that is one that I absolutely have to do every time. If I had to choose Big Thunder or doing Space Mountain, it's going to be Big Thunder Mountain. What do you think?
Space for me still. I think it's so thrilling. It makes me giggle the entire ride because it's just so fun. And then now recently with special ticketed events, like we've been getting different layovers for Space Mountain. Like we'll get the fun lights version and then like the completely pitch black version, and it's just reinvigorated my love for Space Mountain even more.
There's different kinds of Space Mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah, so during the Halloween and the Christmas parties, you can either ride it completely in the dark, or they'll have like strobe lights and different kinds of music. So it is a lot of fun.
I think the Christmas
during those hard
one is
ticketed
by
events.
far my favorite.
Also, Space Mountain. Every boy nowadays dreams of space. It's the coolest thing. It's the final frontier. Westerns are dead. Nobody wants to be a cowboy anymore. Everybody wants to be an astronaut. Space Mountain goes on.
Big Thunder Mountain is the frontier.
You are all about little boys' dreams of this.
Because that's what Disney's about. It isn't about what 24-year-old Dennis likes. It's about what 35-year-old Dennis will want to bring his son to do.
I guess Space Mountain. And moves on. Next up is Rock and Roller Coaster versus Expedition Everest. So two of the most thrilling attractions at Walt Disney World. One in the dark. Well, I guess both of them in the dark. One of them goes backwards, one of them goes upside down. I need to erase my previous answer. Okay, are we ready?
Yep. 3,
2, 1. Everest, and Everest!
Woohoo!
Wow, completely unanimous against Rock and Roller Coaster. Any reasons why for you guys?
I think it's the same defense as before. Rock and Roller Coaster is just a very one-dimensional roller coaster, whereas Everest has many dimensions to it.
Everest is a longer experience. It's beautiful. It's one of the most expensive roller coasters I think ever built. It's a mountain. If that Yeti was working, it would probably usurp most of the other attractions at Walt Disney World.
I am grateful that I was able to see it with the Yeti working.
Maybe one of these days.
I think within like the next 10 years, they're going to need to retheme Rock and Roller Coaster to like the Harry Styles coaster or something.
Why
Whereas
Harry
Everest will
Styles?
never need to be rethemed.
That's true. Well, not
Harry
Harry Styles. I don't know.
Styles.
I prefer a Disney property there. Okay, so... Okay, we are moving on to the dark ride region. So we have Peter Pan's Flight, Haunted Mansion, Space Mountain, and Dinosaur duking it out for the semifinals. First up is Peter Pan's Flight versus the Haunted Mansion. Okay, it's time to reveal. I feel like I know what's about to happen, and I'm mentally prepared for it. We have Haunted Mansion, and Peter Pan's Flight. Wow. So far, a lot of the ones that I want to move on are not moving on. So this is an upset of my personal seed, which makes me offended. Peter Pan's Flights. I don't think I'm going to convince you guys at all because Haunted Mansion it's almost a perfect attraction. Peter Pan's Flight is fun. Nope, not going to work.
Objectively, Peter Pan shouldn't be the number 1 seed.
Objectively, no. It's one of the most Disney rides. Haunted Mansion is an original Disney World ride, but as far as like Disney properties and their influence on the nostalgia of most people rode Peter Pan's Flight, and they've brought their grandchildren to ride it. Maybe the same with Haunted Mansion, but there's probably more people that are going to do that as far as nostalgia goes for Peter Pan's Flight. Haunted Mansion is still, it's beautiful. A lot of these are going to be really hard to choose from now moving forward. Next up, we have Spaceship Earth versus Dinosaur. Okay, we ready?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1. We have Dinosaur, Spaceship Earth, and Spaceship Earth. The waffle has returned. So, any defense to Dinosaur versus... as opposed to Spaceship Earth?
Spaceship Earth is long, so in terms of like getting the most bang for your buck, yeah. It's educational. It's the #1 ride that people go on to get out of the heat in Epcot. But Dinosaur is just more fun. Like, it's actual fun.
Half of that ride is in the dark, and it's all based on audio. But what you can see of that ride, it's very thrilling. It's scary. Spaceship Earth is longer, much longer. Usually has probably around the same kind of wait time, I think.
Breaks down every time I ride it.
I think Spaceship Earth is just completely iconic. There's no other rides really like that at Disney anymore in terms of animatronics and the Omnimovers. At least in the direction that Disney seems to be going. But Spaceship Earth, I guess, moves on. Yay.
Me.
We are now moving on to the mild attraction region of our bracket. We have the Walt Disney World Railroad, the People Mover, Astro Orbiter, and the Kilimanjaro Safaris. First up is going to be the Railroad versus the People Mover. These are pretty like attractions to be going up against each other. Okay, are we ready?
Yep.
Dennis is drawing again, so we can go and reveal the People Mover. I say the Railroad. Dennis says the Railroad!
Oh no! I had to stay
Wow.
loyal.
I thought about saying People Mover for the memes, but at the end of the day, I think kids will enjoy riding a train more than whatever the People Mover is.
It's the Walt Disney World Railroad. You get a full view of the Magic Kingdom instead of just one land in the Magic Kingdom.
And it goes choo-choo.
There's still a narration, but there's just something it's more of a nature experience than the People Mover is.
I have no defense because even though I agree with them, I'm still sticking to my
Sticking to the People Mover. So the Railroad moves on. Next up, we have the Astro Orbiter versus the Kilimanjaro Safaris. Okay, we ready?
Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Safari, and Dennis he's going at it. He's almost there. Give him a second. There it is. It looks like a...
Is that Farley laying on a pillow?
It's supposed to be Simba.
Okay. Can you
Looks
see
like
that? I don't even know if I can
Pikachu.
see that. I did not vote for the Safaris in the previous round, but this up against something like Astro Orbiter, this is a full experience, and it's incredible. So absolutely Safari all the way.
What was it against in the first round?
It was against the Tomorrowland Speedway.
Oh yes, a very full experience.
Moving on to the boat ride region. So here we have the Jungle Cruise, Pirates of the Caribbean, Splash Mountain, and the Navi River Journey. First up is going to be the Jungle Cruise versus Pirates of the Caribbean. Dennis, you have to draw something with every single round, it seems. You ready to reveal? 3, 2, 1. We have Pirates and Jungle Cruise. So, Dennis, what is it going to be?
That's Jack Sparrow.
It looks like Trader Sam to me. Is that Jack Sparrow?
Yes.
Wow. So Pirates wins over Jungle Cruise?
Yep.
Jack Sparrow. Okay, so Jungle Cruise, yes, your experience is contingent upon your skipper. You could have an incredible experience most of the time if you have a good skipper. It's outdoors. It's intimate. And it's longer than the Pirates of the Caribbean. Am I convincing you?
What
No.
if I hate every minute I'm on it?
Well, then I guess Pirates of the Caribbean moves on. Next up, we have Splash Mountain versus the Navi River Journey. Okay, you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1. Splash, splash, and splash. It looks like.
I tried to do like an onomatopea thing.
Oh, like a
So that's the sound that
splash.
happens when you hit the water at the bottom.
So Navi River Journey is beautiful,
But it's
groundbreaking,
too short.
but it's very short and nothing at all compared to Splash Mountain. Now we're moving on to the shows region. We have Fantasmic, Finding Nemo the Musical, which Dennis has not seen, Beauty and the Beast live on stage, which also Dennis has not seen. I don't know how these made it on. Not even bitter about it at all. And then finally, the Festival of the Lion King. So first up is Fantasmic versus Finding Nemo, the musical. Are we ready?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1. Fantasmic.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. No, this is Fantasmic. And of course it's going to move on over Finding Nemo, the musical. It's one of the best anythings that Disney's ever done. Not even a show. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm. What's next?
Next we have Beauty and the Beast live on stage versus the Festival of the Lion King. And 3, 2, 1. Lion King, Lion, and Festival of the Lion King. You were at the whole thing. Look at you.
Yeah.
Overachieving. Beauty and the Beast it's a beautiful show. Has a lot of history at Hollywood Studios. But the Festival of the Lion King is...
It's not a comparison.
Not really. Even though they both have like factors of singing and dancing elements to them.
There's more love in Festival of the Lion King.
There's fire in Lion King.
And you can feel it tonight.
Okay.
The love.
And now our final region for the semi-finals, I suppose. We have the simulators / the 3D attractions. So here we have Flight of Passage, Soarin'. We have Smuggler's Run, Millennium Falcon, and then Toy Story Mania. So first up is going to be Flight of Passage and Soarin', two very similar attractions, similarly to Big Thunder and Space Mountain in the previous bracket region. So Flight of Passage versus Soarin'. This is actually kind of hard.
No.
It's not?
Nope.
Uh-oh. Okay, we ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Flight of Passage, and Flight of Passage, it looks like. Ran out of some space there.
Ran out.
Yep. One is just a more elevated version of the other one. It's hard to... It's easy to compare, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Not really that hard.
Not to make myself sound like a giant baby, but it's another attraction that makes me cry.
Flight of Passage?
Yeah.
It's gorgeous, and it's incredible that it's just so fantastic without even needing to see or understand the source material, honestly.
It's so incredible. Our dad will walk up to strangers in line with us on other attractions and tell them how good Flight of Passage is.
He will.
When we're at Hollywood Studios.
He will absolutely do that.
It's got the Rogers seal of approval.
I hope so. Finally, we have Smuggler's Run versus Toy Story Mania as our final matchup of this round. 3, 2, 1. Smuggler's Run. And Han shot first. Whoa. That is debatable, I suppose. But I guess not. So Smuggler's Run, Toy Story Mania, both very interactive rides where you actually get to partake in your own ride experience.
But if I'm going to wait in a long line, I want Smuggler's Run to be at the end of it.
Yep, that's true.
Because they both have long lines!
So here we are. We have arrived at the very final round for each of the respective regions in our Walt Disney World Attractions bracket. We are going to decide what is the victor amongst the thrill, the dark, the mild, the show, the boat, and the simulator attractions at Walt Disney World.
And then we're going to put them together!
Will be pit against each other so we can find out who is the victor in this massive video that we are apparently doing today, this multi-part experience. So here we go. The victor of the thrill category, Space Mountain versus Expedition Everest. So the time has arrived. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Space Mountain. And
Space Mountain. Because space is the absence of everything else.
Boo!
wow. He's not wrong. So, Space Mountain wins. I voted for Big Thunder Mountain in the previous round over Space Mountain, but pit against Expedition Everest, it's probably going to be space. It's classic. It's enjoyable. What do you think? I don't know. It's a really good ride.
I get the same types of thrills from both coasters. However, Space Mountain is just that constant thrill from start to finish, where Expedition Everest is more of interrupted.
Yeah. What about you?
Space Mountain's just like the most iconic ride to me. Disney World. You know, there's... People always talk about people dying on Space Mountain. It's like that cool. People have rumors about people dying on it.
I don't hear these rumors.
Well, you know, everyone knows like some super tall guy who stood up on Space Mountain and died, which isn't real, but
I don't think that actually happened. And either way, it moves on. Space Mountain has won the thrill category of our bracket. Moving on, we have the dark ride region, and this is going to be the Walt. No, it's not. This is going to be the Haunted Mansion versus Spaceship Earth. I almost said Space Mountain again, but I did not. You guys ready?
Yep.
Waiting on me?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Per usual. 3, 2, 1. Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion. It looks like. Haunted Mansion has moved on. Well, we have been, I guess, completely in sync with all these. These have been unanimous.
For now.
Any thoughts on why Haunted Mansion wins the category of the dark ride attraction?
It's more classic.
Region? Okay. Dennis?
It's actually fun.
It's actually fun comparatively to Spaceship Earth.
Spaceship Earth is all right, but I mainly go in it to get out of the heat, and just sit down for a while. Haunted Mansion, I go on because it's really cool, and I think it's super cool. You can notice something new on Haunted Mansion every single time. I think.
I was gonna say that too. I do it on both of them, but I can do it easier on Haunted Mansion.
Sometimes I just look at the ceiling or something just to see if I can spot an extra ghost.
It's a incredible ride, and I think it's withstood the test of time, and everything is always compared to attractions like these for forthcoming attractions, and even to this day when new attractions are built, this is still better than them, as proven by the winner of our dark ride bracket region. Moving on to the mild attraction region. This is what I was going to say earlier, the Walt Disney World Railroad versus the Kilimanjaro Safaris. Both relatively similar, yet completely different attractions. 3, 2, 1. Safari, and the Walt Disney World Railroad. Wow. I feel hurt.
I miss the railroad so much, and I want to be one of the first people to go back on it once it comes back, but as far as experience, Safari has more.
It's also just a lot more effort to have a safari with all those animals than it is to make a railroad that just goes around the park. Plenty of places have that. The St. Louis Zoo has that.
That's true.
But the St. Louis Zoo also has a lot of animals.
But you can't drive through it. It's not a safari.
The safari at Animal Kingdom is what stands. It's what makes it stand, I guess, out as not being a zoo. It's just such
not a zoo.
It's so incredibly well done and immersive that I was thinking about changing my answer, but I gotta stick to the railroad because
I have an interesting thought for you.
Convince anyone?
I have an interesting thought for you. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Could they keep Animal Kingdom open if the safari wasn't open?
Yes.
They could, but
Because
it's
of the addition of Pandora.
yes, but it's the ride at Animal Kingdom. The railroad, it never has a wait. I think that's what I appreciate about it, and it's a way to just do something, and I enjoy that.
A way to do something.
Yeah, it's something to just do. It's like the People Mover, where it's a way to people watch. It's a way to just
It's a way to do
Are
something
there any rides it
experience
doesn't
the
apply
ride.
to?
with limited effort.
I can say for me, Walt Disney World Railroad is just the quintessential mild attraction that you can ride at Disney. But it looks like it doesn't move on. It looks like the Kilimanjaro Safaris have taken the region of the mild attractions at Disney World. We're getting ever closer because now we are going to be doing the boat ride attractions at Disney, and the two that we have pit against each other here are Pirates of the Caribbean and Splash Mountain. This actually might be pretty hard, as hard as the thrill attraction category. Okay, we are ready to reveal in 3, 2, 1. So we have Splash Mountain, we have Spash Mountain,
Splash Mountain.
and we have Pirates of the Caribbean. Spash Mountain. Nice.
I got to here, and then I realized the L should be in between here.
Go on Splash Mountain.
So why Pirates of the Caribbean?
I'm not even going to try and convince you guys. I picked this one solely based on the fact is I don't get wet.
Okay.
Except for when the cannonballs are out of sync. And then you really get wet. But usually, no.
Splash Mountain, I think, is just... I don't even know how many times we've said this. It is iconic. It is one of the longest attractions with the addition of the animatronics. It's absolutely worth the wait time. And I think that kind of goes with a lot of these. Is it worth the wait time versus the experience that you get? I would still, to this day, wait an hour and a half for Splash Mountain if it's a hot day. And I don't know. It's just that much fun.
I agree. It's super fun. I would wait an hour for Splash Mountain. I don't know if I'd wait an hour for Pirates of the Caribbean.
Give it up for Splash Mountain.
You wait for Splash Mountain.
For Splash Mountain, I'd wait 2 hours.
Next up, we have the show region. This is going to determine what is the best show at Walt Disney World according to us and our seeds. So for this category, it is the Festival of the Lion King versus Fantasmic.
Oh no.
That's hard, right?
It is hard.
Okay, we ready?
Yep.
You doing it? You're good? 3, 2, 1. Fantasmic. And that looks like Mickey Mouse.
Oh
wearing his Sorcerer's Apprentice hat.
He's just Biter.
Sorcerer Mickey.
I don't even know if you can see what he's been drawing this entire game, but he's doing his best.
I
But
did have a hard time choosing this one, but then it ultimately just came down to like my personal feelings about it. I almost chose Festival of the Lion King because I feel like when it comes to like true entertainment and performance and talent, Festival of the Lion King subjectively has more.
it does.
Yes. But Fantasmic makes me feel good and happy more.
I think it comes down to if you could just choose to experience one or the other, what are you going to do? And it's going to be Fantasmic, even though Festival of the Lion King is...
An amazing production.
It is such an amazing production, and the fact that they do it as many times of the day that they do with the live performers and the dancers and just the pyrotechnics, the puppetry in that show, it's incredible. But
Also,
it looks like...
Lion King is only one property. Fantasmic is everybody.
That's true. I love a Fantasmic update, but it's still... I mean, it still gets me. But it looks like Fantasmic has won the show category of our regions. Of this region. Now we've reached the final region for our semi-finals round? Semi? I don't even know what kind of a round this is. We have Flight of Passage versus Smuggler's Run. This is the 3D simulator, 3D/simulator region. Okay, are we ready?
Yep.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Flight of Passage.
Flight of Passage!
Flight of Passage. Fop. And Flight of Passage.
Bop, bop, bop.
We're pretty unanimous on a lot of these. I like that a lot.
I'm
I
surprised.
had a hard time on that, but I finally realized that Smuggler's Run is only going to be amazing if you love Star Wars, whereas Flight of Passage is going to be amazing even if you haven't seen Avatar ever.
Yes.
I think Smuggler's Run is only going to be amazing if you're the right pilot.
I was a pilot.
The pilots are definitely like the best seat in that experience, without a doubt. And a lot of people don't really want... A lot of people love that opportunity to have an involvement, I guess, in those kinds of rides and experiences. A lot of people don't. They just want to sit down and enjoy a ride. So the fact that you have to do something, some people don't like that. I do, and I'm sure most of us enjoy that.
I gotta push the buttons to have fun.
Yeah, but it looks like
I think they
Flight
made
of
that
Passage
for everybody who
moves
ever
on.
wanted to drive the Millennium Falcon, basically. You know? You don't want to watch somebody
yeah.
else drive the Millennium Falcon. You want to drive it.
Well, if I'm the freaking engineer, I do have to watch somebody drive the Millennium Falcon.
yeah, you have to.
Because
Fix
I'm the
what they
pilot
break.
and you have to listen to me.
So we've reached the actual semifinals. This is going to be maybe a little bit complicated because we have the Thrill region going up against the Dark Ride region. That's going to be kind of its own bye. And then we're going to have the Mild region go up against the Boat Ride region, and then the Show region go up against the Simulators/3D region. So basically, first off, we're going to be doing the Thrill Rides versus the Dark Rides, which means we are going to be going for Space Mountain versus the Haunted Mansion. This is where it gets kind of hard to compare these, and the intent was to separate up the regions so that it was a little bit easier to kind of pit these rides against each other, and now we're crossing those boundaries. So Space Mountain versus the Haunted Mansion. Okay, so for the semi-final victor between Thrill Ride attractions and Dark Ride attractions at Walt Disney World, we have Space Mountain, and
A croissant.
Space Mountain. Is that
It was
the moon?
supposed to be a moon.
That's the moon, apparently. But it looks like Space Mountain wins. Space Mountain beat Haunted Mansion, which it's very hard to compare the two. But I guess for me, it's the feeling that I get while on the attraction. Haunted Mansion is incredible, and it's something that just makes you notice things and makes you think and appreciate the details. But then Space Mountain, it's thrilling, it's fun, it's something you want to experience again, and that factor, I think, is what makes it win for me.
I agree.
You agree?
I agree.
All right, nothing else to say, Dennis?
Yeah, I think everybody loves Space Mountain once they're on it. Even if you're like afraid of roller coasters at first, if you go on it and you're like, whoa, that was awesome. Whereas some kids might be afraid of Haunted Mansion.
Next up in the semifinals is the mild rides at Walt Disney World versus the boat rides/water rides at Magic Kingdom. And this is going to be Safari, the Kilimanjaro Safari versus Splash Mountain. You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1. Safari. Harambe?
That's the name of the preserve, isn't it?
Yes, but so the Safari beats Splash Mountain.
Yeah.
What?
It goes back to me how I don't care for water rides. I do like Splash Mountain, but I rarely get to go on safaris because I feel like their fast passes are more lucrative than Splash Mountain. It's a longer experience. It's again, my same argument. It's more unique. You get to see a bunch of animals. It's not animatronics, it's real animals, so I think the experience itself is more well-rounded.
I didn't want to make it all thrills. You know, how do you compare thrills versus this is kind of cool? You know? I don't know. I like Splash Mountain, but I also like the Safari. Splash Mountain, for me, the only joy comes from that one drop at the end. You know, that's when you get the thrills, the excitement. But Safari, it's like gambling. You know, I never know what I'm going to get. Am I going to get baby giraffes this time? Am I going to get a warthog blocking the vehicle?
Am I finally going to get to hear the lions roar?
Mm-hmm.
I guess where in Jungle Cruise I appreciate that factor and that you don't know what you're going to get to experience. I actually don't necessarily like it in the Safari because depending on the time of the day that you go, you may not get to see really any animals at all. And depending on the monotone nature of your driver, it's double the experience of the Jungle Cruise. So if you are on that truck with somebody that you're not a fan of in terms of how they deliver the information that they're giving you, and it's probably going to be repetitive information for the most part. Skippers at Jungle Cruise, we're not comparing the Jungle Cruise and the Kilimanjaro safaris, but they can switch it up a little bit more than they do at the Safaris. Safaris is more information-based. Jungle Cruise is more jokes-based and humor. Splash Mountain is an attraction that you know what you're going to be getting, what you're getting yourself into, versus you never know what you're going to get yourself into, which apparently you guys like about the Safari.
On the other hand, I don't care what the driver says.
Really?
I don't listen to him at all.
I'm there for the
all I
animals.
want is see the animals. All he has to do is point out the animals for me. I'm good.
That's all. That's it, really?
Yeah, I don't need to hear the information. I listen to it and absorb it in the background, but I'm not actively listening to what they're saying. I'm actively watching for the animals.
But there's a lot of animals on the Splash Mountain ride, right?
There's also that one that says FSU, and that's a dock.
It looks like the Kilimanjaro Safaris moves on. So now the very final matchup that we have to do is the shows at Walt Disney World versus the simulators / the 3D attractions at Walt Disney World. So that is Fantasmic versus Flight of Passage. This is weird to compare these. That's for sure. Okay, are we ready?
Yep.
Time to reveal. Fantasmic, Flight of Passage, and Flight of Passage.
Oh.
It looks like Flight of Passage moves on.
I'm surprised you picked it.
You know,
Me
I am
too.
too. I was really going back and forth, but I don't know. Just Flight of Passage is more quintessential to me in terms of like what I want my experience to be at Magic Kingdom. Fantasmic, I could experience that every other time, or maybe every few times. But Flight of Passage, if I could do that every time that I go, I absolutely would. Because this is something that you don't want to get old. This is something that doesn't get old, I think, if that makes sense.
Well, if we're keeping a track of things that make me cry, this one makes me cry more.
More than this one?
Yes.
Okay.
When we smell the dung part of Flight of Passage, it makes me cry.
The dung part of Flight of
Well,
Passage.
like the dirt part. Yeah. I don't know. I was making a joke. Anyway, I like Flight of Passage. I had to go back to the first
Dennis
time I
likes
rode
the
it.
smell of poop.
No, I don't. But like the first time you ride it, it blows your mind. You know, you didn't know this was possible. This is like what all theme park rides should aspire to be.
I like that dung smell.
I'm not going to argue with their counter arguments, but I'm still going to stick to my guns on this one.
It's incredible. All
They don't
these
even
are
do
great.
that dumb thing where they like spray you with the water in the face. It's just
It's
like
a
a light
mist.
little
It's a
mist.
mist.
Yeah.
I
It's
do
so
appreciate
considerate.
that. Thank you.
So now, in a rather bizarre turn of events for myself and my own personal seeds, we have reached the quasi-final round in terms of putting safaris, the Kilimanjaro safaris, up against Flight of Passage to head to the final round versus Space Mountain. So, Kilimanjaro safaris versus Flight of Passage. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Flight of Passage. Flight of Passage. Flight of Passage. It's unanimous. It beats the safaris. So why is that?
In terms of lucrative fast passes, if you can snag one for Flight of Passage, you have had a successful day at Disney World. It's still relatively new to where the excitement of that attraction outweighs safaris.
Okay. And it makes you cry?
I mean, if I see a really cute animal, I'm gonna cry too. So I'm not gonna put
But this
the
makes
crying in there.
This makes you cry.
Yeah, but I'm even taking emotions out of it this time.
I was gonna say, because so far I just put attractions up against the other ones are, does it make you cry? Does it make you get wet? Which ironically are very similar, but
No.
those are your standards in Disney attractions. Flight of Passage for
I don't
you?
like that
Is it just fun?
It's fun. It's also just, it's so mind-blowing. Like, I think it really blows your mind the first time you ride it in a way that, like, no other ride has that I've ridden.
Okay. Could it get old to you, or do you think you'll still have the same amount of fun on it each time?
I still have I have, like, a similar amount of fun the second and third time I rode it. It is getting a little old, whereas I would ride Safari every single time I'm there. If I've ridden Flight of Passage, like, 10 times, then I think by the 11th time, Safari becomes better.
So this bracket for you right now, that is your opinions right now, but this could change, depending on how many times you ride this in the future.
And if it was right now, I might ride Safari instead of Flight of Passage.
So what'd you ride for Flight of Passage?
Because for people who've never ridden it before, it's so amazing. I think you need to do it.
Okay, Flight of Passage moves on. So here we are, the moment that we've all at least been waiting for, because we've been sitting on this couch for like an hour and a half, and maybe you've been waiting that amount of time too. I don't know how these videos are going to end up in terms of length, but we've reached the final round of Space Mountain versus Flight of Passage. This is it. This is going to be our victor in what we think is the best attraction at Walt Disney World, based on our regions of the bracket that we made, based on the seeds that we decided to put the attractions into these categories for. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. Space Mountain versus Flight of Passage. Okay, it is time to reveal the best attraction at Walt Disney World. Brennan and Dennis. I have Space Mountain. Dennis, what do you have?
Space Mountain.
Brennan, what do you have?
Space Mountain!
Space Mountain! It is the unanimous... You have to jiggle it with us. Space Mountain is the unanimous decision from us as to the best attraction at Walt Disney World. Wow.
That didn't go as painful as I thought with Dennis being here, because I know he has
Painful.
different opinions than we do when it comes to attractions and Disney.
Right.
Surprisingly, it seems like I shared most of your opinions.
True.
So collectively, we decided on which attractions would make it into the regions of the bracket. These were my personal seeds that I used to organize the specific regions of the categories, and I think this turned out pretty well. And the fact that we had 6 regions, I think, was interesting. It made it more complicated, but it did make it a lot of fun, because we would have had to combine certain rides into other regions, which really wouldn't have worked out that well. So I think this was a successful experience. What do you think, Dennis? Did you have fun?
I had a lot of fun. You're going for
Okay,
a
that's it.
handshake there.
Oh, no, I was grabbing your board. So you had a lot of fun. Dennis, did you have a lot of fun?
I did.
Or I meant Brennan. Hey, Dennis, did you have a lot of fun? Cool. Did you have a lot of fun?
I am a little disappointed because before this, I thought Space Mountain would win, and Space Mountain did win. I don't know. Maybe it's good that I know myself.
Right. And again, this is a combination of all of our opinions, where we did have a couple of upsets, for me personally at least. For you, maybe you had a couple too.
Nothing upset
No,
me.
okay. Did you have a good time?
I did. I was actually surprised to see where it went, because I'm not the type of person to feel very strongly about one thing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I really didn't know what I was going to end up liking, and I honestly thought that my opinion was going to change multiple times throughout this process.
Okay. Well, there it is. Thank you for hanging out with us today. This is something that isn't especially unique in terms of our idea to come up with this. This has been done by multiple other people and channels and whatnot. I think we did a unique factor in splitting it up into certain subcategories to make our bracket instead of being completely randomized based on seeds. And I think it ended up pretty well. So thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Thank you for watching this probably very long video. If you did, we will see you soon. Have a good day, and goodbye.
Goodbye!
See ya!
That's the outro.